This episode is sponsored by Cube Gallery, a progressive art space in Cebu, Philippines. For more than 5 years, Cube has mounted shows of engaging artworks and have also significantly represented the Visayas region in various international fairs. This month at Cube, Ocean Sea, bringing together 3 artists, Olivia de Aboville, Ros Ligtas, and Joanna Arong. Their profound love for the sea is featured in their works and evokes magical mysteries, inspiration, and darkness. The exhibition has different mediums, particularly in textiles, painting, sculptures, and even a video installation. This exhibition is curated by Joanna Vasquez Arong and will run from June 20 to July 16, 2019. For more information, send an email to info@cubegallery.ph or send a message on their Facebook page at Cube Gallery. That's QUBEGALLERY. Welcome to 032 Conversations, the podcast where we talk to creatives, see how they live, and how they do their work. I'm your host, Carlo Villarica.
All right, this is the second time I'm going to be recording this intro because I don't know if you're going to notice the sound quality is going to be a bit different, but basically I just brought in the recorder and didn't bring in any mics, and then so the recorder. The nice thing with this Zoom H5 recorder is that there's a microphone on top of it, and then it's a microphone designed for it can pick up the whole room. So basically, I'm talking right now. If it's bright and early here in California, and I'm trying not to talk too loud because I don't want to wake up anybody. Although I can hear somebody in the kitchen right now. But anyway, so I forgot to bring in the a foam to cover the microphone, and then it helps with wind. Sometimes when you're talking, you can blow stuff. You can, I think it's called explosives. I'm not sure what it's called. Basically, when you talk, there's air that comes out of your mouth, and then if it goes to the microphone, you can hear this annoying bad sound. And I just recorded an intro for 10 minutes or something, and then I had to throw it all away because the audio quality was bad. So yeah, I'm here. I'm still on vacation. The trip has been great. Way too much eating, but fortunately I've been able to fit in a little exercise in the trip. Did a ton of walking. For the first time in years, I ran. I did a 4.5K yesterday, and it was horrible. I still hate running. And I don't want to talk too much about the trip, but that's where I am right now. I don't know what else to talk about. So a few highlights so far. Spend time with the kids and the wife. That's always good. Spend time with my cousins on my side, my cousins, titas and titos, my grandma. We all did this. There's 40 of us. We did this cruise around Alaska. So much fun. Really, it was just fun to spend time with the family. And now I'm currently in an undisclosed location in California, and I'm hanging out with Steph's, my wife, her side of the family, and it's fun. It's cool. It's always nice to hang out here, see them. The kids get to see their grandma, their grandpa. It's great. Yeah. And then another highlight was yesterday or a few days ago. I'm getting the dates mixed up now. So yeah, we hung out with Jeremy and his wife. I don't know if you know him, Jeremy Lim. He was the bassist in our band Rescue a Hero. In fact, he was in the podcast. We did a little Rescue a Hero reunion podcast last year, and he was there. within like 2 seconds of the podcast, he started making fun of me. Anyway, we walked around San Francisco. It was Pride Day, so we went through the parade. I've never seen so many boobs and penises in my life. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, that's it. Like, those are the highlights. Well, and then I bought like a bike frame. If I'm gonna be honest, that's like the biggest highlight of the trip. As soon as I bought the bike frame, I was like, let's go back home to Cebu. I just want to work on this thing. So yeah, we'll see what happens on the new bike. I'm hoping this will be the last bike that I buy in a while. Like, this is something that I'm really excited about. Yeah. Anyway, I'll get to that in the future. But yeah, my travel doesn't hold a candle to the guest in this podcast. His name's Dani Bautista. And Dani Bautista is a freelance photographer and filmmaker. And he is available for travel throughout China and Southeast Asia. So this guy, he travels a lot. I remember when I booked him for the interview, I think he just came from, if memory serves me right, like the day before, he came from Walboal doing this shoot. And then he was talking about a shoot in Palawan. I think as of this recording, right now as I am talking, I think he is in Hong Kong. And then, he travels a lot for work. And then he also is a coach for Margielyn Arda Didal. And where she goes, he tends to go also. So, yeah. And then, so Dani Bautista, freelance photographer and filmmaker. He spent a lot of his earlier years in Hong Kong, and then he moved to Cebu for school. So that's how I know of him. He moved to Cebu. We talk about it in the podcast, but he's worked with a ton of really good brands. So here's a few that stand out. Let me look it up. So he's worked for Vans, Converse, NikeSB, New Balance, Levi Skateboarding, Showtime Sports, Facebook. He's worked for this company called Luxottica. I think they're an umbrella company for Ray-Ban, Prada. So yeah, he's done a ton of great work. He has this free diving video that got picked up by National Geographic, and he has another skateboarding documentary called Tagad, and that's won a ton of awards. I'm not sure. It has like 100,000 views on Facebook or something. I'm gonna link to his work in the show notes. It's worth diving into. It's pretty awesome. So a lot of his work, well, his personal work revolves around like skateboarding and free diving. But he's a lot more than that. There's a lot of commissioned work also. So I got to talk to him. It was great. Just in between, he had like some time in between shoots. So I was able to catch him in Cebu. And yeah, if this is your first time listening to 032 Conversations, please subscribe. We have a new episode every Tuesday where we talk to interesting creative, and we talk to an interesting creative, and don't base the podcast on the quality of my intro, the first 5 to 10 minutes, because I tend to think that the interviews are quite good. At least I like listening to them. If I wasn't making the podcast, I would be listening to this just because these are people that I'm genuinely interested to hear from. So yeah. So a new episode every Tuesday. You can find us everywhere you find podcasts. Let's get to that interview with Dani Bautista.
Lechon.
Lechon?
Lechon in Subuchon.
I thought you were a vegetarian.
No. I said I wouldn't be vegetarian because I would just catch for food. That's the goal. But now I just eat whatever. No way. I mean, no.
Lechon.
Yeah, I had lechon.
Okay, I was like, oh, you're a vegetarian.
No.
And then
I got a spear gun, dude.
I know. I was like,
yeah.
no, but there are some people who like I listened to like a Joe Rogan episode or something, and then there's some people who won't eat meat that they don't catch.
Yeah. So I got it from this guy. I don't know if you heard of him, Wolfgang. He's he's like a businessman here and
Was he a free diver?
Yeah, the free diver. So he's kind of like that. And then he's one of my clients. And then he told me he does that. So and I thought that was super cool. So I was just like, yo, that's nice. Maybe one day, you know.
Like he catches his own food?
Yeah. He catches he's a vegetarian, but he spear fishes, so he eats fish, but obviously he can't hunt for like meat, like land meat here. But when he does go to Austria, he goes hunting, and then he hunts like boars and stuff. So he eats them.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, but he wouldn't go to eat fried chicken and wherever.
So when he goes out to a restaurant, he orders like the vegetarian.
Yeah, he orders vegetarian.
Oh, okay. One last thing for record, for levels. Can you state your name and what you do?
My name is Dani Bautista. I'm a filmmaker and a photographer, and right now I'm a skateboarding coach.
Yeah, ask you about that.
Yeah, so that's what I do. A lot of things.
All right. So I noticed by we were talking a while ago that you just came from a trip. Where'd you come from?
Well, I just came back from Moalboal. I spent 4 days there, and then 4 days before that, I was in Palawan for 10 days.
Grabe, like every time I see you, like you're going. So this is all for like work.
Yeah, it's all for work. It's all for
Really?
work.
So like for example, like the Moalboal one. What was that? What was that for?
I'm shooting. I shot for Air Asia campaign. So campaign commercial. So they hired me as an underwater camera operator for the Cebu segment.
And then
it's for Air Asia China, so it's like from China. So they're trying to promote Cebu, Bali, and Bangkok in China from Shanghai. So.
Okay. So like what? This was so. I guess you had Chinese clients.
Yeah. So
they flew in somebody from China here.
Yeah, they're all from Shanghai and Singapore, and one is from Malaysia. And the model is from China, but the producer is he's also from Shanghai, but he's Dutch.
Okay, so that's the same thing. You were in Palawan just for that also.
No, Palawan is a different thing. Palawan, I was shooting for this new private island resort that just opened. It just opened last month, and just recently, like now I can talk about it because it's official, and it's the most expensive private island resort now.
No way,
in
really?
the whole world, yes. It's in Palawan. It's called Banwa Private Island. It's in Rojas, like a remote island outside Rojas.
Most expensive? Wait, what are we talking about? Would you know the rate?
Yeah, I know. Guess how much the most expensive private island resort would be a night.
I was 100K a night. Is
100K pesos?
I guess.
No, 100K. $100,000 US. So that's 5 million pesos a night.
A night?
A night. Minimum of 3 nights. So 15,000. 15 million to stay there.
You get like the whole island, I guess.
Yeah, you get the whole island. There's 6 villas in the island, and then you get all of it. Yeah.
Okay. So at least it's just not. It's not like one person. It's like you can get the whole island.
You get the whole island. Yeah.
So wait. So you stayed there. You were there for 10 days.
So
you had the 15 million peso experience.
Yes, I did. I'm pretty lucky. And they've been like, I've been working with them since last year. So this is my third trip there.
Oh, yeah?
Third trip, yeah.
So stuff like that. Like, for example, the Palawan one. What are you shooting? Video, photo?
Both. And I actually started working for their foundation. A good friend of mine got me the job. She's a good friend of mine, Carmen Del Prado. She's from Dumaguete, but based in Manila. Very talented filmmaker and photographer. So we both started working for the island for their foundation, which is a lot of marine conservation and basically marine conservation. They do like a bunch of artificial reefs like installed around the area, and we're there to document it and document like birds, wildlife around the island. And then from there, we just build a relationship, and then eventually they're like, yeah, you should do our commercial. And then this trip, that's why it was so long, is because before that we were filming for the foundation, and then the last few days was for a commercial.
Okay, so you didn't even have the commercial.
No.
It wasn't in the plans when you went.
It wasn't in
there.
the plan, so that was just sort of like a bonus. And then, but we are working for the foundation. So, and I'll be back there again this month.
Oh yeah,
end of the month.
I want to know how you get. How does one get to doing stuff like that? I guess we can start from the beginning.
Okay.
I think you grew up in Hong Kong, or you came from Hong Kong. Is that right?
Yeah, I grew up in Hong Kong. I was born in Rizal, Angono, and when
In
I was
Manila?
in like Luzon somewhere. I don't know. I have no memories because I moved to Hong Kong when I was really young. I was 3 years old, and my whole life I grew up there. And then, but I would always come to the Philippines for summers, and then I moved here in college to Cebu. Yeah.
Yeah. What made you decide to come here? I mean, it's you had no attachment whatsoever.
Yeah, I moved here with my best friend actually, and I went. I've been working since after school. Pretty crazy story. Wait, this is a crazy story. Oh.
Okay.
Okay. So okay. So I went to school with and then I got expelled from high school
In Hong Kong.
in Hong Kong. So at that time it was like a British system, so you had 7 years of high school, and I got expelled on the 5th year with a bunch of my best friends. And then I worked for 2 years after that, and I knew that in the Philippines at that time you only had 4 years of high school. So I was like, my mom would always tell me maybe you want to go to college, blah blah blah. And then in the Philippines, every time I think about college, I always think like Manila, because that's where you go for college. And I don't know if I could live in Manila.
Yeah.
So I went with my mom anyway, because I still go to the Philippines a lot. We went to Baguio, checked it out, and then we went to Bohol, and then I fell in love with Bohol. Bohol, I was like, wow, this is nice. Like island vibes, it's super contrast from I grew up in a city. I was like, maybe I could do that, and I told my best friend about it. I was like, yeah, let's move to the Philippines. Let's just try it out. But, to justify it, we got to go to school. So, but there was no school in Bohol. So there was a school in Cebu.
Oh.
So we went to Cebu, nothing. We didn't know anybody. And that was very, that was very interesting to us. Oh man, we can reinvent ourselves, we're maybe we can do that. And then we went to it. And then one of the reasons why we went to Cebu, there was a skate park at the time in Talisay.
Oh yeah,
Visionary.
That's
Visionary.
it.
And we're just like, oh, and we went over there. We met a couple of skaters, and we're like, yo, people here are super cool. And then, yeah, we decided to move here. And then that's it. And then my friend stayed for a year, and he left. And then I just decided to stay. I fell in love with it. And it's my favorite place until now. I love it. And now I consider myself, Cebuano, adopted, because I love it here, dude. I want to live here forever. I mean, I am going to live here forever. So.
Yeah, because I was wondering about that. It's if you look online, on your website, it says you're still living in Hong Kong.
Yeah. So when I moved here, actually, when I was going to school in San Carlos, I was still working. I was I was working for Vans. So every month I would fly to Hong Kong and work there. And then I've always worked, I was a full-time student, but I was working all the time.
Wait, so when you were in college here in Cebu, you're already working for Vans?
Yeah.
So, okay, so when you were expelled from high school,
Okay.
you were already working.
No, yeah. After that,
That kind of, I just thought you were waiting tables or something.
yeah, I did. Yeah. First I did. I did a lot of odd jobs. I worked in after college or in high school. I was working in a Metro Bank in Hong Kong, passing flyers. And I would and I worked in this youth outreach center as a CCTV. I was in the CCTV room. It was a graveyard shift, and I would watch the CCTVs.
You're like a security guard.
Security guard, and I would watch it, until 6 a.m. Really random jobs like that. And then I was a bartender. I was a waiter, and then I got a job in a skate shop. And then from there, they had I was already kind of into because my dad is is a photographer as well. But I didn't want to be a photographer, because I want to be different, and then at that time, the Canon just came out with a DSLR that shoots video. So I was like, oh, maybe I can shoot video. And then I was doing that with a bunch of my friends skateboarding. And then the skate shop had a little camera and said, maybe you could shoot videos for us. And then from there, I shot videos for the skate shop. And then from there, I would do the skate events, which was like a lot of it was from Vans, from Adidas. And from there, I worked directly with Vans. And then I worked directly with like, you know, Adidas, blah, 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 all skateboarding related. And then eventually it got out of skateboarding and I did like other stuff.
Oh, okay. But see, I think that's like, I don't know. Growing up here, you never think about, like, for example, me, I when I grew up, man, I was into guitar.
Mhm.
And I get like a Guitar World magazine or something. And then
Yeah.
it just never occurred to me that there was a possibility of even just working for the magazine or working for a brand of some sort. You know, I was always like, I'm going to play guitar, you know? And then I guess that's the thing in Hong Kong, or is that something like, is that an opportunity you can get here as well?
Yeah, I think so. For sure. I mean, especially with video, a lot of people like are doing it. Like Cliff, you spoke to him.
Yeah.
When I first met him, he
Wasn't doing anything.
He wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
He didn't know how to use a camera. And then like, and then he would use my camera. And then that's, you know, and then now he's doing it. Like he doesn't have any other job. You know, like those guys, they just like, that's their only like source of income. And I think that's pretty cool, you know, and then they're freelancers. And I think like right now, especially this day and age, like that's how you do it now, you know, you don't have to be an in-house or whatever. You could totally survive freelancing and it's so in demand and super, I mean, like Cliff and those guys, they're like proof that it is possible.
Yeah,
even
they do
here.
get a lot of jobs.
Yeah, so that's cool. But for me, it was kind of like different because I did not think like later on I learned that you could do it, but I was first of all I really loved doing it, so I was going to do it anyway. But I had all the other odd jobs on the side until, you know, I could like quit all the other jobs and just do that full time. So I almost kind of like I was always fighting for it. Maybe.
When did you like realize that you could do it full time? Was it when you were still in Hong Kong?
Yeah, yes and no. I would always kind of like, I don't know, can I do this or can I not do this? But I was kind of like the worst thing would be just like I would work as a bartender. I mean, I feel like, you know, all my friends do it. Not so bad, you know, like I always took a risk because I knew, you know, like, oh, maybe, you know, if I don't make it, I could always do this, you know, so I guess I always knew there was a possibility, but I was always kind of safe where I always had like another job until, you know, eventually I had more clients where I couldn't do the other job anymore. I just had to do it full time.
So even when you were here in Cebu in school,
Mm-hmm.
you were really busy doing. Yeah, you're going to Hong Kong like every month. You said.
Yeah, I was
And you
there
had-
every month.
You had like other jobs as well.
I had other jobs, yes, and I also started working. I think my first job in Cebu was Loud Bastard. Like I did their thing, and that kind of got me a lot of little jobs in Cebu as well. So I was also doing like small time stuff here while I was going to Hong Kong, but mostly it was the Hong Kong stuff that kind of got me going because, you know, it's perfect. I make money there and I spend it here. It's like,
Oh, it's like
it's a perfect situation. You know, like,
yeah. It's like-
Because if I live there and I work that, it's like, you know, it's not a lot. You know, it's, you know, over here it's kind of like a good situation where I could, you know, the conversion rate is good.
Oh yeah.
And then so
No, it's like it's you're not earning dollars, but you're earning like Hong Kong
dollars.
Hong Kong dollars.
yeah. So yeah, so that worked well for me.
Yeah, it's
I think.
expensive up there in Hong Kong.
Yeah, it's super expensive. Like, yeah, I can't live there. It's expensive.
Mm. But then, so you were doing it like you were in the skate scene. You were like mostly what you were shooting in Hong Kong was like skate related
Yeah.
stuff. But so you were into skate way back.
Yeah, I've been skating for 19 years now. Since I was 8. My whole life I've been skating. Pretty much.
Since you were 8.
Since I was 8 years old.
Oh yeah.
Mhm. So I've always been into it, like obsessed, kind of.
Skate, I noticed, is one of those sports where it's visually appealing. You get what I'm saying? Like I don't know. I'm guessing here because I don't skate. Like it's something that I've always wanted to do, but for whatever reason, just never did.
Mhm.
But I'm gonna guess, like, you know, if you're skating with a bunch of friends, there's always gonna be one guy who's gonna be like, hey, can you take our video of us doing this trick?
You're right. You're exactly right. And I think that's what's cool about skateboarding. It just gets, you get into like everything. Like there's this guy, like, you know, cause to be able to skate at that time when you're street skating, you're always kind of filming and you're always making all these little films. And, but at the time you didn't know you were making films, you know, you're just like skating. And that's part of skateboarding where you like listen to music and you think like, oh, this is a good track for my like part or whatever for our montage. And then there's this one guy, which was me, like, who's like maybe not the best skateboarder, who would be the guy with the camera, you know, so it's cool. And then there's a photographer and then you make your own, like, and it's like, it's a thing, you know, you're a skater, you always make your brand, your skate brand, you know, so
What do
it's
you mean,
like
as a skater, like your
as a
personal
skater.
brand?
Yeah, because you're just so like, you know, you're so creative. Like as a skateboarder, you're always trying to like make things, and a lot of like crews, like I mean, like skateboard groups, like Adele, for example. Yo, I want to make strap. You know, that's such a thing in skateboarding. Like all these little crews in Manila, whatever, they always have their own thing. They always have their own brand. They always have their own grip tape brand. They make their own stickers, make their own wax. You know, so
It's really like it's like an entrepreneurial thing.
It is, exactly, yeah, and and it's also like the culture of it, like pro skaters, they become pros, and then, you know, eventually they'll start their own company, and you're gonna like, you know, that's the next like dope company, you know. It's always like that. It's always been like that, where skateboarders just become entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I feel, you know, like it. Every time I hear stories like that, but then I always get reminded of, like, you know, when you're a kid, and then sometimes you'll have a parent who'll be like, you know, why are you doing that? Are you gonna be able to make money doing that? And then sometimes it's not even the point. Like, even if you don't make money doing it, it's all the things, it's all the peripheral things that you get out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, you know, the people you meet or the things you learn. Like, you know, apparently and then you're right. There's this entrepreneurial spirit being a skater. It's weird. Like, because skate is like very punk rock.
Yeah.
Like rebellious and everything. Yeah. But at the same time, there's also like I don't know, for lack of a better term, like an entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah.
In it.
And I think it just it just builds you as an individual, you know, cause you're thinking, cause it is rebel, it is punk rock, and you just and it teaches you to like, kind of like not care, you know, and just like do your thing. And then, so I had this, like a few months ago, I was in Hong Kong, I was with Margie, and then she was pretty crazy story. She was invited to this university in Hong Kong to do like a little talk.
Really?
Yeah, like Margielyn Didal, you know, with this other skateboarder from Holland. And then, cause there's this guy who's making like a book about like academia and skateboarding, blah, blah, blah. And why. So there's this teacher who's like in the audience who's like, so other than all the foul languages and the tattoos or whatever, why would I have skateboarding as a curriculum in my school? You know, like, it's crazy. You know, like, you guys look like this, you like swear, blah, 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 blah. And then like a friend of mine had like the best answer for it, where it's like it is sort of a bad idea, because if you do get into skateboarding, you kind of just like, you kind of like don't care, you know, and you just, all these things that stop you from like Margie, you know, like her parents totally told her not to skate, you know, like there's nothing you'll get from it, blah, blah, blah. But she was sort of like in that mode where she didn't really care, and all she wanted to do was just to get better. And then, right, I'm lost now. Sorry. But yeah, you know what I mean? It's just like, there's no boundaries.
Yeah. Like, you don't care. Like, I think one of the things about being Filipino, I don't know if you've experienced that. Like being Filipino, you don't think, you're very aware of other people and what they think, and then it might not be a Filipino thing. It really might be a, you know, a human thing.
Yeah, you're right.
But you know, like, what other people think really matters. Mm-hmm. And then at some point, if you're imprisoned by that, and you end up not doing anything, and then I guess. So, like, skateboarding is a way to get out of that.
I think so. Like, right now it's a little better. Like, a lot of kids, because of social media, you know, they get into a lot of stuff like fashion. But before, when you didn't have it, skateboarding kind of did that to you. You know, you're into this, and then you get into all these, like, subcultures, like, alternatives, and then, like, people think you're crazy, you know? Like, oh, I want to make my own, like, like, you know, I want to start my own band. I want to make my own clothing brand, like streetwear. Back then, streetwear was kind of like, what are you doing? You know, like, but now everyone does it, obviously, but it's cool, you know, like back in the day, like everyone just wanted to create something in skateboarding and then now a lot of those guys who did that are still doing it now. And then, but everyone else was kind of like, you're crazy.
No, because it's hard, you know?
Yeah. And then like, taking photos, like, so for me, like skateboarders, it's either you like, it's always like kind of the same. You're a bunch of skateboarders. You start your own clothing brand, you become a filmmaker, or you become like a designer, you know, like it's like, you know, it's cool. I mean, like, you met all the skateboarders. They're always kind of somehow into that. And then like, you know, if they don't become, let's say like a
rapper.
Yeah, a rapper. Like, you look at like, B-Mac.
Yeah.
Adele. It's the same, dude. All my friends are like that too in Hong Kong. So it's pretty interesting. You know, it's pretty interesting that skateboarding getting like that culture, you know, it just makes you do stuff.
So you've obviously like seen so many different skate communities at this point, especially like you're accompanying Margie all over also, and then you've been in Hong Kong, you've been here. I'm sure you've probably gone to like Manila also as well. Have you noticed like differences in the communities? Are there like?
I mean, yeah, but yeah, for sure there's differences, but a lot of similarities too. You know, there's always that guy. Yeah, like there's always that filmer guy, the guy who films. You know, it's funny, and that's like it's super interesting to me. And yeah, and there's always that. Yeah, there's a lot of similarities, a lot of differences, but mostly I look at the similarities, you know, and that's why you relate to them because you're so familiar with it. And that's why the skateboarding community is pretty cool like that. You just like, you know, you get together. It's cool.
Yeah, because, like, let's talk about Margie. Like, she has a really good story. When did you first see her skate?
So that was when I was in college in San Carlos. There was a little private skate parking at Chavez. And I would go there like every day after school, before school, my break, I would skate. And then she would just be there because her mom used to sell street food right outside. And she would go there and just kind of hang out. And like, super cool story. I've told this story so many times because it's so awesome. And yeah, she would go there, help out the guys who run the park. So she would help out clean, blah, blah, blah. She had no board at the time. So she would just borrow all the guys' boards, you know, until one day for Christmas, a good friend of mine, Dimit, like gathered everyone to get their like little parts for skateboards, like secondhand parts. So he could build like a whole setup and gave it to her. And in no time, she was like the best.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. She just became super good. She's like super, like she's a natural on a skateboard. And yeah, that's how we met. We just skated there, and a lot of and then it was a cool community when that park was there. Everyone was good friends, and until now, we're still good friends with a lot of the guys there.
Well, what I really like about her is that, I don't know, like, you know, she has, you know, like if you're really good at skate, you can be really good at skate, but like I can't tell. Like I can't tell if you're really good. Like you do a trick and this other person does a trick. I don't know which one's harder.
Right.
They both look difficult, right? But she has like a personality.
Yeah.
You know, like she'll like, you know, like dab in the middle of her run, or like when she met Duterte.
Yeah,
like
made the president dab.
You know,
she's crazy.
How did you become her coach?
Okay, so years later, after Concave, she's been doing well. You know, she was in Manila at the time, I think. And then a good friend of mine, Anthony Claraval, he's a fellow filmmaker as well. Like, he started a New Balance numeric skate program in Asia, and he was looking for people to start a team, like and then I mentioned, like, when I first met Margie, I was telling everyone about her, like, oh, there's this girl. Because at the time, even until now, you know, it's very, like, female skateboarding. It's a new thing. It's still popping. And at the time, she was, like, I mean, right now she's the best. But before it was, like really crazy, mind-blowing, like she's so good, you know? So they were looking for a girl to sponsor, you know, because that's a new thing. And then Margie was the one. So she got sponsored by New Balance. And then asked me to do this little video to like kind of like her introduction to this Asian championships in China. So I did like a little short film, and Cliff helped me out with it too. He had like some little clips in it, like a little 1 minute just to introduce herself for the competition. But in the end, she didn't get to go because there was no, I don't know, something to do with her visa. We couldn't get her in time. There's like no support, stuff like that. But people saw the video. So she got a scholarship in Woodward Skate Camp. It's the biggest skate camp in California. No,
Really?
Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Really? Just from the video?
From the video.
Oh, wow.
And then Monty, who's the president of the Philippine Skateboarding Association, saw the video and she presented it to the Philippine Olympic Committee, blah, blah, blah. And the Philippine Skateboarding Association was born, blah, 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 and it was cool. And then they had their own thing. And then when the Asian, we started to get skateboarding into the Asian games, and then skateboarding will be on the Olympics. So it's like an official sport, but to be a sport, you need a coach. So it's like a new thing. You don't have a skateboard coach. This is a new format. So I guess, I had nothing to do with it. I guess they had their own thing going on. And then I just get a call from her manager, Jess, who's also at the time was the general secretary for the association, and said if I was they want me to be the coach. And I was like, sure. You know what I mean? And then from there, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. It was sort of until now I'm learning. And then now it's kind of becoming more of a real deal. And then obviously there's more competition. The Olympics is coming up and there's more and more work getting into it. And it's super interesting. I'm learning a lot. It's cool. Yeah. So now I'm the coach. And then now we have a Philippine team, or we're working on starting a Philippine team. So it's not just Margie anymore. We have a skateboarder Pinay skater from Portland. And then we're trying to get another guy from Germany who's half Cebuano, who I met here. And then we have another guy from LA so far. Yeah. So
are you going to be coaching everybody?
Yeah. Pretty
Really?
much. Well, coaching.
Is it like a head coach, like in basketball? Like you're the.
It's different because it's it's not basketball. It's more of managing, like a team manager, sort of.
Okay.
And then, there is strategy, into it where you, before the contest, we talk about it and I do follow up on their progress, all that, making sure they're feeling good, being their hype man, but, yeah, so I guess it is kind of like basketball, but it's just no drill.
Are you making sure the training? I'm like,
yeah, for sure. So because so that's why I'm going to Hong Kong the day after this, because I'm going to go. It's like a training trip with Margie, because it's different here too. We can't do it in the Philippines because there's nowhere to train here. So that's why I'm also always traveling, because
there's no real skate park here.
Yeah, there's no real skate park. So we have to travel to Hong Kong at least, or to the States to actually skate, which is kind of sad.
It's kind of sad, but it's also really impressive in Margie's part. She's been able to get really good despite not having, she has to travel just to get better.
So she's one of the best in the world, right? And then she has the biggest disadvantage compared to all the other top level athletes who skates every day, who has access to all these facilities, but she's not far from there. Imagine if she had the same access they did here in the Philippines. You know what I mean? So it's you're right. It is amazing that she could be on that level without having access to that.
Yeah, take a flight just to practice for
and
2 hours.
And she can't even practice the other athletes, they have access, they practice every day. And it's Margie can't do that because she has to come home, blah, blah, blah. She doesn't have a skate park to skate here. Sucks.
Well, hopefully it changes. I don't know.
It is. There is.
Obviously she's gotten a lot of attention.
Yeah.
The sport has gotten a lot of attention because of her also.
And I do believe it is changing slowly. And then, they said they're building a skate park here. And, hopefully that happens. And then just build one in Davao. And then they're having one built in Luzon. So, it's changing. And I can see it. Slow, but it will change. And a lot of it has to do with Margie. So that's kind of awesome.
I'm so interested in the coaching aspect of it. It's the other fun thing that I think that helps her is that you're a coach, but you're also a storyteller, man. You're a photographer, a videographer. So you go with her in the trips, and if you're not just while she's practicing, what are you gonna do? Just sit there? You're gonna do something, right? So you're probably taking her videos also. And then
exactly, yeah.
It's I don't know. I feel like it works out, and then obviously, skate is such a interesting subject to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I think, I guess, yeah, and it's pretty cool. And I try to do that. And it does, like, just to get more attention to it. Because, if you're there, we document as much as we can so people know what we're up to, and they get excited. So, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. But I remember watching, you guys did the skateboarding documentary, that Tagad.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me about that? Like, that was really, really good. Like, I talked about it with
Thank you
Cliff
so much.
as well.
Yeah.
But, was that, you conceptualized it and everything, right?
Yeah. So, there was, it was I made it for the Metro Manila Film Festival, which it won. And, I was in school and they announced, like, there's this, film festival, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yo, this is, it's just like perfect time. And then they had that little skate park, Concave. And, yeah, so I picked up a bunch of people. I got Cliff to be part of it, and Adele, and Demeet, and Barrow, who started the skate park. And yeah, and it was good, man. And then now, like, like everyone on, like, who was involved in that, like, we bonded, and now we're like really, really, really good friends, so it's cool. I liked it. And a lot of people loved it. You got a lot of attention. That's cool. And people still talk about it, and I love it. Like the other, people, like, I meet skaters. I mean, obviously they didn't know I make it. And then they would just mention Tagad and, like, I'd hear it and it's so cool, and like,
I wonder if it's like, if in a way it somehow represents like Cebu skateboarding in a way, like, if they hear Cebu skate and then they'll think of the documentary. You think? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, maybe, I guess. So there's this one story. I met I was in Manila and this one skater, he's like, yo, where are you from? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm from Cebu. And he was just like, yo, panorin mo to, Tagad. Cebu yan. Like, oh, yeah. And I was just like, oh, have you seen it? I was like, yeah, I saw it. It's cool, right? And I was like, oh, pare, lupit. And I was just like, yo, that's tight. Like.
You should have said, like, my name's Dani Bautista.
I mean, eventually he found out because one of my friends said, like, yo, he's the guy who made it. But, and then, and it's cool, sometimes I get some of that and, it's a good feeling. It's cool. Like, people like it. And, yeah, it's nice.
Is that the thing that, you've made a lot of things. Like, you also did, like, that free dive, film for National Geographic.
Yeah. That one was sort of like a personal video, documentary I did, like a short film, because I just got into freediving at a time and I wanted to do it. And I was traveling with Maurice, who was the starring in the video, and she was my first instructor. So I did that, and then it wasn't for Nat Geo, but really random, Nat Geo saw it. It wasn't a trending video. It had like 500 views, but I got an email, and then they're like, yo, we really love this stuff. We want to feature it on our website. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh, really?
This is so
how
good.
That happened?
Yeah, like random. It didn't trend. Nothing. Not no, but very like,
Like 100, 500 views.
500
like
views.
Yeah.
And I got an email and I was like, yo, this is crazy. And that's like a dream come true. Like I've imagined it, but I never thought, and then, that's how it
at
happened.
first, like, maybe you submitted it to their website or something.
No, I didn't. I didn't submit it. That's crazy. Like it's a producer from Nat Geo just stumbled across it in Vimeo and sent me a message. And I was like, yo, do whatever you want with it. Like, take it, like whatever. And they're like, cool. And then like, a few weeks later, it was on Nat Geo. That's cool.
It was a really good video.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Super good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that's such, wow. Can you imagine? So like, like sometimes people, like, they release stuff and then they're like, oh, it only gets like 100 views or something. Like, have you seen like 100 people in a room? That's a lot of people. Like,
it is. When you think about it,
if you
like,
think about
it's
it, right?
crazy. Like, yeah, it is
and
crazy.
Sometimes it depends on like
who's watching it.
Yeah.
And you just like 10 people watch it. If you have that one guy over there, one producer, one whatever who thinks is good,
So what happened? They put it up in Nat Geo. It was for like
they have this thing every year. It's they call it the short film showcase. So it was that, which you could submit to it, but then and in the end I think they pick a winner or something. So it was like an official selection to this like online contest, I guess, film festival. And then they write an article about it. It's pretty cool. Yeah, and then they publish it on their website. And they put like, oh, that's the best part. They put the logo on your video. They just like put the logo, with the olives. And, oh man, that felt good. That was like, that was good.
So like, in a way, like your story is like, just keep releasing good stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, I just try to make as much as I can. I mean, not as much as I can. Just like, I just want to keep making stuff and do something better and better. I hope, and I like it. I like creating new things if I get the chance.
You have like a personal project coming up, or because I know you're doing like a lot of work.
Yeah, I do. I do have like plans. I wanna. My next goal would be like, oh man, I haven't even started it. Saying it might like. I guess I'll just say it, just so I'll be forced to really do it. So I want to make my next goal would be to make a little coffee table book.
Yeah.
I want to make like a coffee table book, like about freediving in Cebu, like make a little map, maybe. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but maybe that's the next one. Maybe do more photos, like stories, maybe collaborate with a writer. I don't know. So I've always wanted to have like a little book, like create something you can touch.
No, sometimes I'll daydream about like printing photos and just posting it on a wall. Yeah, how did you get into freediving? That's like
random too.
Yeah, right. Like, it's obviously it photographs really well, but like it seems far away from like skateboarding.
Yeah. So this is a story. Super random too. I mean, I've always been into like wildlife, watching National Geographic or whatever. But I got into it because I got into a motorbike accident. I got in Siargao. I went with my friends and I got into a motorbike accident and hurt my knee. I couldn't skate. And then a friend of mine, at the time, a roommate of mine, he just started getting into it. And then there was Maurice, who was in that video I made, came to Cebu and she was doing this little freedive intro workshop. So I took that. And then that's it. And I just it was a new thing to me, I mean, I've heard of it, but I never freediving, what is that? I didn't know, I didn't know you could hold your breath for this long. I didn't know any of that stuff, but because I just needed something to do. And then I got into it and I got obsessed with it. And for a year, I just kept and I invested time to learn it. And then, I got into courses. I made an X deal with this dive shop. So I did their videos in exchange to teach me, give me certification. And then, so now I'm a certified master freediver. Oh wait, no.
So you can teach?
Not yet. I'm a candidate instructor, which I haven't finished yet. So I still have to finish that for me to be able to teach.
Oh, okay. So the thing with freediving that I can't wrap my head around is that how do you equalize when you go down? When I go swimming with the fam, we'll get a boat and then I always like to try to go down, but I always have a limit because my ears start to hurt.
Yeah, so to equalize, you just pinch your nose and you blow it.
No, but then you lose some oxygen though, right?
So, yeah, you're right. So that's when you kind of learn how to do it efficiently. So there's the different techniques on how to do it. So there's this technique. It's called the Frenzel. So instead of using your diaphragm and then blowing your nose, you use more oxygen, more effort. So there's a thing where you use your throat to do it, and you just use your tongue as a piston to put pressure so you can blow your nose, and that uses less effort, so you can do it more and you can conserve more oxygen.
So you still have to
you still have to do it.
You still have to cover your nose.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Yeah, because I'll try to read stuff like that online, and it doesn't make any sense. They say put the tongue on the top of your mouth or something.
You hit it like that. Yeah.
Oh, you hit it with your hand?
Sort of. You how do you explain it? Yeah, you just use not your hand, but your tongue. You kind of close your throat, and then you just with the pressure from your tongue, you can blow your nose.
But you still have to cover your nose.
You still have to cover your nose. But there are some people. I mean, there's also a way to do it without covering your nose, where you could just like, I don't know how to do that, but some people can do it. You know, where they can just equalize, just opening their tubes.
How would it's like when you're like free diving, do free divers have like a number that they know like how many minutes they can stay under? Is that
Mm-hmm.
like how many minutes can you stay under? Or is
Like
that
underwater?
Yeah, yeah.
Like this? If I'm just doing a static where I'm not doing, I can hold my breath for 4 minutes.
4 minutes?
Yeah. But when I'm diving, like, going deep, really
Yeah.
deep, maybe 2.5, almost 3 minutes. 2.5. Yeah, that's the longest I've done.
How do you what?
Yeah.
how do you exercise that? How do you
A lot of it is learning how to relax and just, getting comfortable with your body, like when you contract, and learning how to relax with those contractions. So a lot of it is really like, yeah, relaxing, like meditation and just being, yeah, pretty much, yeah.
so the body can really like stay under, can go without oxygen for longer than you think?
Yeah, it's you have this thing. We're actually built to do it. You have this dive reflex, where it's like just it's part of us. We're supposed to do it. I mean, we're hunters, and we, like humans have always gone spearfishing. So we have this thing where you can do a bunch of tests where you have what do you call this? Receptors on your cheeks. Every time it touches your cheek, your water touches your cheek, your heart rate slows down 30% or whatever, so you can hold your breath longer. So those are like one thing. So it's part of our, what do you call that? It's part of your body to hold your breath,
Really?
because it's it's a survival instinct.
So that instinct after like a minute or two that I feel like I'm under like in a swimming pool or something and I just want to get up. That instinct that I feel, that's I could, if I learn to relax and kind of sort of fight through that a little bit.
Yeah, you could go with it, and you could hold your breath longer for sure. Yeah.
Oh.
But it's just a matter of relaxing, because when you panic, you're just using more and more and more like energy, and then you lose oxygen. So it's a matter of just learning how to relax and just be comfortable with and be confident.
So how do you know when, let's say like you're totally zenned out,
Mhm.
how do you know when it's time to go back up?
You listen to your body. That's why you have these contractions to tell you, oh, it's time to go up. Okay, it's getting, I feel it. Like, I feel like I'm going to pass out. So it's time to
Okay.
go up. So it's like, it's sort of just slowly training, like trying to push it little by little by little. And yeah, and you kind of just figure it out. You just like figure out your body.
Huh. So a lot of the jobs that you've been doing lately, is it like, because I think we talked about it in the top, like you're doing a lot like a lot of underwater stuff.
So that's recently, since I got into freediving, like now I'm getting like, I'm starting to get into more like underwater jobs, which is pretty cool. So that's more of a recent thing for me.
So how do they discover that you can? Is it just because of the personal videos that you've
Yeah,
released?
it's my personal videos, a lot of the videos, and just word of mouth. People would say, "Oh, I know a guy. You can shoot underwater." It's usually like that. Most of my work is mostly from word of mouth. Rarely I get any clients through my social media or anything.
So it's really from previous work that you've done.
Yeah, and just people just like saying, it's just usually it is like that, just like network.
Oh, but then when you shoot underwater, like you have like a totally different set of like equipment, right?
Yeah, yes, I still use the same camera, but then I put it inside an underwater housing. So pretty much that's it. And then I get my wetsuit, all that stuff, my weights, my fins. Yeah,
But
it
when
is
you're
a different
shooting,
set.
I guess are you scuba diving or?
No, I'm freediving.
Really? You're still freediving
I'm
while you're
freediving,
shooting?
yeah. So, but it depends. Sometimes, like let's say that Palawan shoot, sometimes I would need to scuba dive. So I also learned how to scuba dive, just so I have like, I could do whatever. So I learned scuba dive, and I could scuba dive too. So sometimes it depends on what they need or what needs to be done.
What's like the craziest? Like you didn't realize you could. Why? How? Like I'm here. Like like the craziest like thing that you've been doing for work?
The most recent one in Palawan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I'm doing that commercial with this like amazing team, and we had like we had this crazy boat, like, and then a helicopter, and we got to film a helicopter, like, ride a helicopter, and that's when I thought, I was just like, yo, this is crazy. Well, like this is crazy. I'm filming this. It's like I'm filming like a James Bond movie, So that's one of those moments where I'm just like, yo, this is crazy. Like, this helicopter is so close to me, and I could just feel the wind and the water going in my face, and I'm like, tuk, 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 tuk. Like, what?
Oh, like you're in the water.
No, I'm in the boat. And
you're in the boat.
And then they would be like, yo, we want a helicopter and a boat on the same frame, so like, so the helicopter would go super low with the boat, and we're filming it, and we just like look at each other, like my team and I were just like, this is insane. When are we going to get to do this? When you get like, a chance to film like this cool helicopter, this cool boat, and just like, it's insane.
Is this out?
Not yet. No, not yet. I'm still working on it. Yeah.
As you also do the editing.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Ah. No, it's interesting to me. It's like how many people get to do that,
I know. Yeah. So those are those moments where you're like, wow, dude, like, this is awesome. Like, not everyone can do this, like, and you get the chance, and it's just like, whoa.
Not even just the moments though, like that's your life right now. Like, how long has it been like this? Like,
man, it's been a while.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, you're right. It is like, it's cool because of my job, I get to live all these different lives. Like, I would never I'd never say never, but like, I'd never have $100,000 to go to this crazy island, like private island resort. And I get to do that because, I could shoot video, and they hired me to do it. So that was a cool experience. So, crazy stuff like that.
But at the same time, it's like the freelance work. There's no, how can I say this? Like, there's no, in a way, you don't have that sense of like, okay, I know what I'm doing a year from now. Like, that security. Do you ever feel that?
Yeah, yes and no. Like a big part of it, no, because you're always kind of like, oh man, what if I don't get this? But yeah, then you just like kind of build confidence, and you kind of just like, you like build like your reel, and like what you can, you figure out what you can offer, and then, what's in demand or whatever. And you kind of just like, it's just building confidence. Eventually it's like when I started, I'm like, yo, how am I going to get jobs? And now you're like, there's so many jobs, so it's like, it's very, like a good friend of mine, like, Nicolo, he said that. It's like,
Nicolo Manuel.
Yeah. He was just like, I forgot what we were talking about. Maybe he was just like, it's like security or freedom, what I mean? And then I guess, I don't know how to explain it, but
yeah,
I guess you do have I guess compared to having a salary, obviously you have that security, but, yeah, it's nice. I don't know, man. I don't know how to explain that.
No,
you kind of I guess it's just confidence, I don't know.
The way I think, actually, I feel, I want to ask you, get your take, but my take on like a salary, for example, in a way, this people think of a salary as this secure, safe thing, but the truth is, you're putting all your eggs in one basket, and whoever you're working for, right? So like, let's say you work for this call center in some whatever, and then so your livelihood is dependent on this company that you work for, that for them to do well. And the fact of the matter is, no matter how well you do your job, it may not have an effect at all to the welfare of the company.
Right.
So if you think about it in that sense, it's not very secure and safe. You get what I'm saying?
You're right. No. Yeah, you're totally right. So I guess that goes back to like you as a freelancer, you have these skills, and like you can do something, like being an entrepreneur. You have that. Like, no one can take that away from you because you're not dependent on someone else. So I guess it is kind of like it is. You're right. There is some security in it and freedom. So I feel like that's the way you do it. You know, instead of like putting like depending on that one company.
Yeah, but so now you're investing in yourself. You're investing in your skills,
Right.
your knowledge, your connections with other people. Because that's something that will probably never go away, right? You know, I remember sila Nicolo shot my wedding.
Yeah, I saw that. Very
Oh
nice.
yeah,
Beautiful.
oh yeah, it was
Yeah.
super good. Like,
Yeah,
I am-
man, they're the best, dude. They're
Yeah.
so good. Shout out, Nicolo.
Yeah,
So good.
I remember we were like Nico's really funny. Like I remember we had a meeting talking about the wedding, and then we're like, all right, so guys, because he likes to talk, and he's really fun to be around. So I remember like, all right, let's go. Like had my bag na. We're outside. We're outside like the cafe that we were like having a meeting in, and then we ended up like standing outside for another hour. You know, just talking.
That's cool.
Nico's a fun dude, but it was so good.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. Yeah, you
Yeah,
can
they
have a
shot your wedding
conversation.
too, right?
Yeah, they did. They did. Yeah, they shot my wedding.
Yeah, I remember I saw some pictures, and then like the nice thing that I like with Rainbow Fish in general is that it's my personal preference that you know like you can see like the people are having fun.
Yeah, that's very important to me. I think. Yeah, and it's just and that makes you comfortable, and you're just like it's just like you're hanging out. You know, they make it fun, and it's just like yeah, it's easy. You know, they're there. They're not really like you're not. You know what I mean? It's not like you're gonna shoot. You know, they're just there and they're having fun. Yeah, you're right. I like
Well,
it. They're having
I'm
good
sure
fun.
more for you because you guys are friends. Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, but well, for me, it was more like I want the pictures. I wanted to have the pictures like, you know, I want to look back like 5, 10 years from now, and then, yeah, that was a fun day. Like, you know, you see
Mhm.
people laughing, you're laughing, my friends are laughing, my cousins laughing, like
Yeah.
you know that sort of vibe, and you could tell that. Sometimes I guess it depends. Like different photographers, they have a different style. Like
Mhm.
with him, you could tell he tries to capture those moments where it's fun,
Yeah.
you know, and those are the moments he chooses to. And I guess when you know, like when you're taking a photo, you have you have thousands of photos
Yeah.
to choose from, and he chooses the ones that are like people are laughing.
Yeah. He just waits for he's like, yeah, you're right, totally. He gets those moments.
Yeah, man. So going back to see Margie, what are you guys? You guys are going to Hong Kong just to train?
Yeah. So yeah, we're going to Hong Kong to train because for a week because on the 25th. Well, anyway, like end of the month, there's a competition in London. Street League. It's a Olympic qualifier, so we have to get ready for that.
Is it just you and her? Or are the other Filipinos?
I don't think
coming
I'm
in?
going to go to this one just because it's like so tight and I don't have a visa yet. But she's going with Anthony Claraval, who's the vice president of the association and her like sponsor for New Balance. So it's going to be her, and and she's going to be competing. Yeah, it's just both of them. Maybe they're going to see Daniel Kalayaan, who's the Cebuano from Germany. Maybe he's going to go there, but he's not competing. They're just going to meet up over there. But yeah, it's like, yeah, I might not be there, but maybe I will. I don't know if they can find a way to get that visa right away.
Really? Well, I still can't get around the fact that like because I remember talking to Edel and then he said that like when they were learning how to skate, their dream was always to be like a professional
Uh-huh.
skateboarder, and then so far one person has done it, and it's Margie.
Yeah. So dope. So cool. Yeah.
No, but it's cool. Like at
Yeah.
least like now there's now it's there. Like it's clearly a possibility
Yeah,
for
yeah.
people now. You know? And then it wasn't like it was given to her as well. She had no advantages,
Yeah, you're right. Mhm.
right? She was just like like I mentioned earlier, she couldn't even she didn't even have a real place to
To skate, yeah.
to skate.
Yeah, you're right.
No? Yeah. But you still skate. You still skate a lot, right?
Yeah, I try like, oh man, when I have my free time, I skate. Like every time I get a chance to skate, like I skate. I think about skateboarding all the time.
Oh yeah.
I wish I had a lot more time so I could skate more. So yeah, I try my best to skate as much as I can. But so far, this past month, I haven't skated, dude, because I've been traveling so much. But every time I get the chance, I'm excited to go to Hong Kong so I could skate. So it's cool. When I'm with Margie, we're both skating all the time. So it's pretty exciting. I love skating. I still skate. Yeah.
Ever since you were 8, right?
Yeah.
How do you like? Has the interest just never died down?
It did for a while because when I was 8, I started skating with a bunch of my Filipino friends, and then a lot of them quit skating. So I kind of sort of quit skating a little bit because I had no one to go with, and then I got back into it. And you know what? No, it never. I was always into it, but then it wasn't like there was points where I didn't skate as much just because there was no one to skate with. But I've always been into it. Like I was always like obsessed with skateboarding.
Like who in like Cebu right now are like really good, like coming up? Would you know? There's so many kids now just skating.
There's a lot of good skaters. There's this one skateboarder. His name is Montic. He's really good. Like I really like his skating. And one of my favorites here is Josh Salvacion.
Josh Salvation.
Yeah, he's super good. Good style.
That's another thing. Like, I remember talking to Cliff, and then he was trying to explain style to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I don't know, can you talk about that? Like, I remember talking to my friend, Mark Cortez, McCoy.
Yeah.
Well, you know him?
Yeah, I know him.
So he's like a skater, and then he was like, I remember talking to him once, and he was telling me, yeah, I'm just trying to like, he was telling me about like style, and I couldn't get my head around it. What is like?
It's just like how you skate, how you look on a skateboard, like how you do tricks or whatever. And then it's really hard to explain. But when people ask me that question, I'd always be like I think as a skateboarding, I think for me the closest thing to compare skateboarding is dancing. It's like, how graceful you are or whatever. And it's not like you can have someone who can do like crazy backflips but look super stiff. And you can have someone who does just like the robot, but he looks so dope, So it's like that, I feel, like you don't have to yeah, exactly. Like you can do all these like breakdance moves, but you look super stiff. And this guy who just does like Michael Jackson who does the moonwalk and totally like, you know what I mean? It's just like how you present it, how you perform,
So it doesn't even matter if like like a ridiculously difficult trick. It's how you do it.
It's how you do it, and just how like you can it's how you do it, and just like it depends on its preference too. Like this person would like that, like crazy stuff. This person would like someone who's more flowy or whatever. So it's very subjective. But like a lot of it is really like just how good you look, and a lot of skateboarders like that. I mean. Not like that. It's just, it's like dancing for me, like you see someone like super simple dance moves, but it's like
they have
so
like
much
grace
swag.
Or something.
Yeah, so much like, he has the vibe and like, oh, that's cool. Instead of someone who's like doing backflips or, and you're kind of just like, oh, those are difficult moves, but, I'd rather watch the guy who has like flow, something like that. I don't know if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know. When you compared it to dancing, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess. My sister's a dancer, so I can sort of get. I'm not a dancer. Like, I don't know, but I can sort of get it. The other thing that made me think is like the community in skateboarding is, like every time I will see a video, and then somebody does like a good trick or a trick that they've never done, and then you see people in the background.
Yeah, they're like hitting their boards on the ground.
Yeah, clapping or shouting at the guy.
Yeah.
Is it like that everywhere?
It is like that everywhere.
Really?
It's pretty cool because you just get stuck, you do a trick and it's not easy, and like for everybody who's trying to do a trick, even if it's easy for you, you know how it feels, how hard it is to land that trick and how hard it was to get to that point where you do the trick, and like once you do that, you kind of get reminded of the stoke too. You know, you're like, oh, that's dope. And then people just get all hype. It's cool, man.
It's like a really encouraging community in a way.
It is, yeah. It is.
Well, thanks, man. We've been talking for a while.
How long has it been?
Like an hour.
Oh, really? Damn, man. We could talk for longer, dude. But you know, what's your cap here? Like, how long can we go?
No,
That's it, huh?
we don't. I don't really have a cap. It just
What's
goes
the-
till it goes.
what's
Usually,
the-
I try to like
Just
the
keep
longest.
Keep it an hour. Like, what's the
I
longest
try
one?
to keep it an hour, but like some people, like I've tried having a podcast that's like 3 hours.
Oh wow.
Then it kind of becomes a problem sometimes.
Yeah, because it's kind of long. You know.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Like, I was telling my friends, we were out, we had dinner yesterday, and then somehow like Joe Rogan came up, and his podcasts are really long.
Yeah.
And I was telling them, I happily listened to this 4-hour podcast where there was a vegetarian and a meat eater, and they were debating.
Oh,
And then Joe Rogan was, he was the one, what do you call this? Mediating the debate. But it really depends. It really depends.
Yeah, it depends. You're right. I mean, I listen
Yeah.
to podcasts that last for 4 hours too. You know, so
You
it's
do?
like,
Who do you listen to?
I listen to the Nine Club. It's a skateboarding podcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like they try to keep it an hour, but sometimes it would be like the longest one was 4 hours.
Really?
Yeah, and it would go to usually 2 hours.
Is that the only
And-
podcast you listen to?
Yeah, right now it is. Yeah, it's the only podcast I listen to every Monday. Every Monday, no, they come out like they have something every week. Yeah, and I listen to it when I'm on traffic. I like it. You know.
Quick question: how do you listen to the podcast?
Apple. Wait.
I
Podcast.
usually use the podcast app.
Yeah, podcast.
Oh, okay.
And I just have it playing while I'm driving,
yeah.
or I have it on my phone, and it's just like while I'm doing something. It's cool. Yeah.
No, because I find like I don't know, like here in Cebu, I find myself explaining what you can do. Sometimes people go to the website and then they'll press play,
Yeah.
and then it's on the computer. It's not the ideal way for me to listen to a podcast. Like for me,
Yeah, me too.
Like driving is perfect.
Yeah. Especially here. Like, I
Oh,
think
here,
Cebu-
wow.
I think podcasts should be big here. Because it's like, because people are stuck in traffic all the time, and like,
That's how I got into podcasts.
yeah, because me too. I'm like, I need to listen to something, like, it's cool. Yeah, and I listen to a bunch actually, but right now that's what I'm listening to, but I would listen to like science, like explain this to me on Spotify, like science stuff. I love all those stuff, like how it works.
Oh yeah,
those
yeah,
podcasts. Yeah.
No, because here I remember. So I was just driving a lot, and then I never liked listening to radio, and then the music that I was listening to just at some point you're just listening to the same stuff over and over again.
Yeah.
Especially if you're stuck in a car for hours on end.
Mhm.
And then I was like, I'll give podcasts a try, and then I ended up like subscribing to like 20 or 30 podcasts.
Yeah, man, it's cool. I love it.
Yeah, no, that's why this is like my favorite medium right now. I know. I mean, I've been listening to podcasts for a while,
Mhm.
so I just thought it'd be fun to do.
That's cool, man. Like, it's super cool you're doing that. Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah. Well, where can people find you, man? Online.
On Instagram, I'm very active on Instagram. They could follow me at DCATBAUTISTA. So that's at Dani Bautista, and yeah, that's it. I mean, I have a website, DaniBautista.com. So yeah, my portfolio is over there, and I also have a Vimeo, which is Vimeo.com/Dani Bautista. So
Right. Man,
That's
you know,
pretty
your Instagram is like really good. Like,
oh, thank you. Thank
yeah, like
you.
I don't know, man. Like the photos you post, they're like, I was looking at it, and then I kept thinking about. There's like I want to say a style or an aesthetic, but it's very sometimes when there's like you'll post every now and then like a street photo or something, and then but there are other photos where there's a subject and background. But it's very focused.
Mhm.
Not focused like sharp, but like there's something there that you're supposed to look at, and then everything else there's nothing around it.
Right.
There's
Yeah. Oh, that's cool, man. Yeah, I try to do that. I try to just give it, or it's like that's it, like when I shoot a photo, Yeah, you're right. I want it to be kind of focused, like where it's like you don't have to try to see what's going on. You know, like I like that. So,
Yeah, I found like that had it was very consistent in that sense, you know, and it's cool because you're one of those people who gets to really travel around, and then you see so many things. So you'll get like a street photo here, a skate photo here, a nature photo
yeah,
here,
it's all over the
a
place
free
too.
diving thing.
It's like,
No, but man, it's cool. Like I don't know. Well, thanks, huh? Thanks for doing this.
thanks for having me, man. It's an honor, dude. This is
Yeah.
cool.
All
Super
right.
cool.
I'll end it.
All right.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed that interview with Dani Bautista. And whenever I interview skateboarders, I'm always a little scared. Skateboarding is something I'm interested in, but I know very little about. I remember when I was in high school, there was a group of my classmates who would always go out skating. And for some reason, I always felt intimidated to hang out with them. I don't know, it's just yeah, so it's something I've wanted to do, but I never really got into. Skateboarders, they're skateboarders. They're just cool. Thank you to Cube Gallery for sponsoring the podcast. The music from this podcast is Piano March by Audionautics. Thank you to you, the listener. This is probably the hour 20-30 minute mark, and if you're still listening, thank you for still listening. If you want to support the podcast even more, head on over to patreon.com/032. And then all the details are there to support the podcast. There's freebies, exclusive content, and a couple of surprises. And yeah, some more details there. Patreon.com/032. That's 032 in letters. And another way to support the podcast is to buy 032 merchandise. You can head over to assembly.032.com. That's a good place to start. Or if you're low on cash, I totally understand. But if you still want to help, share this episode on social media. It'll help us get more listeners. It'll show people that you like the show. And yeah, that helps a lot. So thanks. Okay, I'll see you guys next Tuesday.